What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, as always, Kevin Coleman, and we are back with another Dynasty mock draft. But we have a twist for you in this one. I like to bring new stuff to the channel because you go everywhere. You're going to find Dynasty mock drafts. You're going to find Devy mock drafts. You're going to find it all. But in this one, we actually included every single class. So up to the 2026 class, new class coming in. So Arch Manning, those guys, the Caleb Williams, every draftable person that can get drafted if you think of in college football and in dynasty and football. We included in this draft. We did 15 rounds for you, and I'm going to break down where all of the Devy assets went, and then just talk about where all the rookies went. So everybody's in there. So if you play Devy, if you play Dynasty, this will help you with player values, especially on the Devy side, because it's really hard to trade. So right now you can kind of see like, hey, this guy is valued this way in this draft. Maybe I can kind of extract value. Where are the sleepers at? I'm going to get into all of that as we go through it. So hit the like button while the intro is going, and we appreciate you guys. All right, let's get into it. So we got our boy Caleb Williams on there. So like I said, this is a dynasty draft, but we had everybody in there. So let's go through rounds 1 through 3. I'm going to put them up, and we're going to kind of talk about it. And then at the end, I'm going to go through and show you every team so you can kind of pause it. You can look at it. So let's look at the first 3 rounds. So I'm going to keep everything up there so you can see it and kind of go through it. And again, this is where I just have the sleeper up there so you can stop it. You can look at how teams are built. But I'm also going to highlight some of where the Devy guys went. So if we look at the board, and you'll see kickers. So kickers were placeholders for these guys. And then we did it on another sheet. We kind of held them there. That's why you see the kickers there. So if you look at the board, I mean, pretty chalk in that first round. We're pretty much seeing that go every time, and the rookies were included. You're looking at all the all the quarterbacks you see there, and then Chase and Jefferson is essentially what you'll see in that first round for the most part. Now, first running back off the board was Bijan Robinson. So he's running back 1 in Dynasty already at the 203. And then we have, the first Devy guy, 204, Caleb Williams. So if you like Caleb Williams, and you have Caleb Williams on a Devy roster, you should know right now he's getting valued as quarterback 13. He's getting valued ahead of Bryce Young, just after Dak Prescott and CJ Stroud. So if you're talking about like where is Caleb Williams at in terms of his value, I mean, he's probably at peak value for what we know from a Devy wide quarterback, right? Like we know Devy quarterbacks can definitely, they have some problems with value at certain points. We've seen him drop off, Spencer Rattler, DJU, so forth, so forth. So just to know where that's at. Now, the next one I thought was the most surprising was Drake May win at quarterback 15. So we're talking like, hey, another guy in terms of that value where it's at, going in that range where you're like, man, is this a guy that like, he has some question marks. I like Drake. I think Drake's really good. But going in the second round, I understand it. I understand his profile is there. I was on Drake 2 years ago before people started talking about Drake this last year. But I think in this dynasty mock draft type of thing, I mean, look at the guys that he went after. So you see the 207, Brees, he went before. He had Brees, McCaffrey was after, Taylor, Brown, Pitts, Waddle, Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, so you better be sure that he comes in there and ready to go. Now, all signs point like that's going to happen. But again, it's just interesting. I love this kind of draft because you can see the different value and valuations there. Then you flip it around. You see Kyle Pitts still going in the second round. So again, this was not tied in premium. This is just dynasty. And then Waddle. And then we got our guy, Marvin Harrison Jr. So he's obviously now, and you'll see on the players too, in parentheses as I put their draft class, so you'll know when they're coming out. So obviously these 3 guys are coming out next year, 2024 class, and presumptively they're going to be quarterback 1, quarterback 2, and wide receiver 1 in the class. This could be how your rookie mocks look in next year. I think it's way too early for that, but just thinking about where everybody is at. So Marvin Harrison Jr. goes there as wide receiver 6. Everybody. Man, that is lofty for this kid and where his value's at. So he went right before Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill, Jackson Smith-Njigba. So he goes there. Then to wrap it out, Lance, I think, is the biggest outlier on this one, just in terms of like risky play. 305, you're taking Trey Lance. Do you think he could be that kid for you? Quarterback 16, though, I guess that's kind of a value, especially with his start. I love his start with Jefferson and Hall. And then coming around, Walker is there, Etienne is there, Javante's getting drafted a little higher than I thought, and then Barkley. So that's kind of how the board goes and shapes out. I will say the first 4 quarterbacks are usually what we see. I've been doing a lot of these mocks: Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, Hurts. So just kind of in general. Now, so that's the first 3 rounds. So let's go through rounds 4 through 6. We're going to see 5 more Devy players get drafted in these rounds. and kind of go through here. And then this is also where you can find tiers, right? And you can see kind of where that goes. So we have Olave, Andrews, Kelsey. This is basically the tight end round. So you're going to see Andrews, Kelsey, Mayer, Hawkinson, right? So you see those guys kind of go in there. And then you're going to see that Brock Bowers gets taken at 405, tight end 4. So he's getting valued Heather Mayer right now, which probably is fair. And then right behind Kelsey and Andrews. So tight end 4, 405 coming out next year. So when you're looking at just overall the value, he's probably tight end 1 of the class, right? So when you're looking at that, where it's going, then we have to flip it all the way around to 509. So at 509, we see Nick Singleton get taken, running back 12. And I'm going to put a big board up of all the Devy players drafted so you can see kind of how all the value shapes out later. But just, stay into the video all the way through, and then you can see that. I think Quinn Ewers gets grabbed, quarterback 19 at 5'10". And that's, Quinn is still a guy. He's probably fighting for a job. I mean, I think he'll beat out Arch Manning, but there's some question marks about his overall value, what that looks like. And he's getting taken early here. You see him getting taken here before Samuel, Jacobs, Quentin Johnson, Goddard, Will Levis, Najee Harris, and Pittman. And we're going to get into who the other guys were. Addison's there, Watson, Mixon. So going through, Ewers gets taken before those guys, right? So again, quarterbacks are always the one thing that gets taken really early in these mocks and even in drafts. And I think Devy quarterbacks you have to be very careful with, right? And I think that's just one of those things that you have to look at. Now, the next 2 picks here, we saw Quinshon Judkins go. Running back, going to be in the 2025 class. So Quinshon Judkins, obviously, he stood out as a true freshman. He's probably running back 1 or 2 behind Nick Singleton. So in this one, he was running back 2 at 605. Then Travion Henderson, who's seen a little bit of a value drop here. At 6'11", he's got running back 18. So we have seen that dip a little bit. And I think that's a pretty good value. So if you have Travion, or if you're looking to maybe move him, you might want to wait because I think his value is dipped as low as it probably will. We're probably going to see it come back up. But at running back 18, in terms of overall, I think that's an interesting spot for him where he could realistically have a good year this next year and then vault himself back up to running back 1. And then we're talking about him as a top 12 guy, right? So I think his value is dipped a little lower than it probably should in terms of what his value actually is. Now, we go to round 7 through 9. So we're going to take a look at round 7 through 9. And kind of give you guys the rundown there. And this is where everybody started taking some shots from some guys. So we're going to kind of get into all of these guys. And you'll see it. It pushed a lot of talent down. So when you do a combined draft, I know there's some like this. 7, 8, 9 are legitimate talents out there. Look at Josh Downs going at 904. You're talking about DJ Moore at 810. Dobbins at 703. Then you got Kamara at 802. You got Russell Wilson in a Superflex going 911. So there's a lot of different areas that you can look at. Now, when we're looking at the guys going off the board, at 701, we have Raheem Sanders. So some people have Raheem as the running back 1 of the 2024 class. Some have it 2 or 3 or 4. But 701, running back 19, that's pretty good value going right next to Travion. So when you're looking at that, that's how they value him. Will Shipley going next at 705. And again, running back 22, many have him as the running back 3 of the class. So when you're looking at a value there, and then, hey, the good pick here I thought was Drew Aller. I thought this was really good value for him at 712, quarterback 23, but presumptively quarterback 1 of that 25 class. And I think it's a pretty big tier break in my opinion. And so you're getting that guy at quarterback 23 right now. I think that's a hell of a value. I thought that was a great pick here at the turn. Especially with what he can be. I did a breakdown on him. Have you seen it? Go check out the 2025 quarterback class. I did that breakdown last week. Go check it out. Go look at him. I think clear day, he's probably quarterback 1 of that class. So if you can get him here, especially going into next year where he's probably going 4 rounds higher into one of these things, which we'll highlight, which we're going to do, I think that's good value. Now, after that, we're going to see other guys get taken. So we're going to see Xavier Worthy, who has taken a bit of a dip in terms of his value. 8'11", wide receiver 31. Emeka Egbuka, who's getting drafted later, which I think is actually more of a value at 906, wide receiver 35. Emeka's probably wide receiver 2 of the 2024 class with what he's able to do analytically. He pushed Marvin Harrison Jr. this last year. And that's just saying something. To get him as wide receiver 35 at 906, I think that's a really, really good value, especially with the guys going around him. Rashad White, Josh Downs probably doesn't have the same profile as him. Zay Flowers definitely doesn't. Zach Evans, what is he going to be? Marquise Brown. I think that's pretty good value where he went. And then Braylon Allen at the 910, running back 35. So Braylon Allen's going to take some lumps. He took some lumps this last year. Value-wise, didn't produce. We saw some dip in production, those type of things. But he's getting a new offensive coordinator. He's got a new whole team there. He's going to have a quarterback that's going to actually throw the ball a little bit. So I don't think he's going to see all the 8-9-man boxes. He's going to be legitimately probably one of the best producers in college football this next year. big shout out to him. I think he's going to see a value bump too. So I think that was a pretty good pick. Now, rounds 10 through 12. So we're going through the next 3 rounds. Remember, we went to 15 on this one, just a little longer, just to get some other guys in there, some Devy guys. So at 10:09, I mean, I could kind of speak to this. I took Malik Neighbors over Evan Stewart and Luther Burden. I might regret that a little bit. I thought maybe one of those guys would come back to me and I'd grab both of them. But you know what? I think Neighbors is one of those guys getting slept on right now. I think he could be as high as the 2024 wide receiver 4. You saw his production at LSU. He's going to be the guy moving forward there. I think that he's going to step up in a big way with Boutte being gone anyway. He outproduced him anyway this year. And some people talk about Boutte still being a first rounder. Give me Neighbors at the 10:09. I'll take that and that production. Evan Stewart went right after that, 10:10, wide receiver 40. I think that's a great pick too. I contemplated both those guys the whole time I was doing it. And then Branson Robinson, man, at running back 40, that's a hell of a grab there. 11:02 with where you're going. I think I think he could step up for Georgia. I know Kendall Milton, the other guys are there. I think Branson could be that guy going forward in 2024 class that actually jumps, those guys that we've been mentioning. Judkins, Martinez, some of those other guys, even Singleton, right? Branson really steps up. He looked really good in that national title game against TCU when they were whooping their ass. I think Branson could be that guy. Running back 40, that's a great pick there. Now, after that, we saw Luther Burden at 11:03, which really hurt me because I definitely wanted to take him. But he got sniped right before me. Good pick there. He's got to see that more production. He stayed at Mizzou. Donovan Edwards, running back 41, is 11:06. Again, if you believe in Donovan, I think that, obviously the broken hand hurt. Best receiving back probably in the 2024 class. So that's something to think about. And then Troy Franklin is 11:07, wide receiver 44. So when you see those guys that kind of go back to back, Troy, again, I have him at wide receiver 5 right now in the 24 class, but get him at wide receiver 44 at 11:07 is not bad value. It's not. And I don't hate that at all. Now, then we're going to get our boy. I knew he was coming. Arch Manning at 11:09. So Arch Manning goes quarterback for 2026 class, quarterback 30. And again, that's just one of those things. When you're looking at the value and what you believe. Now, should other guys gone? Maybe. Maybe we're going to be talking about Nico. We're going to be talking about Dante Moore. Jackson Arnold's out there. Malachi. So, maybe those guys should go ahead of him. But if you believe in Arch, hey, quarterback 30, you got to wait on him a little bit. I probably wouldn't take a 2026 quarterback one of these things just because I think that the hit rates are so low. But, hey, not a terrible value. Then I love this, man. This is why I love these drafts because you never know. EJ Smith is well on his way this last year to really actually produce at Stanford. Emmitt Smith's son, he was kind of stepping up. Hey, Austin Jones was gone. It looked like, hey, EJ was going to be that guy. And now, he had 30 carries, 206 yards. In his game log, though, hey, that was in 2 games. So against USC, he had 88 yards and a touchdown. And then the game before that against Colgate, he had 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he looked like he was going. It looked like, hey, man, he was going to be that guy. We're going to talk about him coming out. And I put 2024 in there because he's going to come out then. Obviously, he could have came out this year, but just to know you. But I think Troy Taylor's going to be there. So Troy Taylor's coming. Sacramento State kid. He made very good running back friendly system. So I don't hate this pick because I think it's just a ballsy pick. I love it. But I do think that their system that they're bringing in is very, very running back friendly. Now, rounds 13 to 14 or 15. This is what I would say too. As I'm going up here, just pause it. Look at them. See where these guys are going. You're going to see some legitimate guys here. Now, you have Rodgers in there. You're going to have Purdy, Stafford, Hookers in there. So you have some guys still in this draft. Obviously, Brady, we just did this right before Brady retired. So just knock out Brady there. Elliott, Ingram, Bellinger, all the tight ends. So this is kind of like that second to third tier tight ends. So if you're looking to wait for a tight end, this might be where you go. McBride's still in there in the 13th. Kincaid is a great pick in the 14th. I absolutely love that one. Now, as far as wide receivers go and Devy guys, Zachariah Branch, probably the wide receiver 1 in the 26th class. 13:01, wide receiver 52. Just a great value play. Cedric Baxter Jr., running back, 13:07. When you're looking at that, Texas running back, I talked about him being very special in terms of probably going to be able to compete for a running back 1 job. And then Nico at quarterback 33. I think that's an interesting play. It's a ceiling play for sure. Got to build that strength. I did a video on him. Go check that out on the channel for Nico there. Now, our other Devy guys. There's a lot of Devy guys in these last 3 rounds here because people were just feeling it. They wanted to grab some guys. Dante Moore going to UCLA. Love that pick. 2026 class. QB 35 at 14:06. Malachi Nelson went right after that. 14:07. Quarterback 36. Then Brandon Ennis. And if you want the picture of the meme of that, he got that dog in him. Brandon Ennis is that dude, man. I hate that he's going to Ohio State because I'm a Michigan guy, but you can't ignore the talent. He can build. He's a culture builder. He's a team builder. If Ryan Day doesn't screw this up, Brandon Ennis could go win a national championship for him. That's how special he is. And then wrapped up this last round. We have Jackson Arnold at 1502. Great freaking pick at 1502 here for Jackson Arnold. And then Adam Randall never really got going after his ACL injury out there in Clemson, but he's got a new offense coordinator down there in Clemson. Now we're going to see maybe that value goes. Wide receiver 63. Now, let's take a look at the final outlook. And this is where I would definitely tell you to pause it, stop it, check a look at all the values here that you see. Obviously, I'm going to throw up the if you see a kicker, it's a Devy player, and you can go back through and see where those guys went. But overall, like I thought everybody built their team interestingly. Like, look at me. Like, just go through my mock draft because I can kind of talk about it because I had the strategy, and I'm going to highlight 2 other teams. I had Hurts, McCaffrey, Wilson. So for me, I went, okay, I'm going to get Hurts, McCaffrey. That'll get me competitive. Wilson, if he gets a quarterback upgrade, he can still be a top 12 wide receiver. And then for me, I actually went running backs on this one because, and I never do. I've never grabbed that many running backs ever in my life, but I just felt like the value was there. I'll take Gibbs at the 409. I'll take Swift. I'll take Mixon, even though he's got the stuff going on right now. I think that got overblown a little bit. Like, obviously, if he did it, he should get in trouble. But I think that with Mixon being in the 6th round, you can't avoid that. And I just went heavy wide receiver, Godwin, Goff, Downs. And I did take, as you go through there, a Devy guy. Then I got Hopkins. You know, I took Malik Neighbors there at the 1009. The Njoku, I think, is a great tight end. A great grab out there in Dynasty in terms of like 12th, 13th round in this kind of format, 10th in another format without the Devy guys, maybe 9th. I love him as a late guy there. Then I just kind of went rookie wide receivers, Hyatt, Mims, 2 guys I'm probably higher on the most, and then go around and get Stafford at the end. I mean, that's pretty good value in terms of where you're getting. Now, 2 teams I want to highlight before I get out of here on this one. And again, I like how he built his team here. Murray, Stroud, Barkley, Olave, Jacobs, Johnston. And then obviously, as we went through the draft picks, we kind of highlighted, you know, what he got. He got Drew Aller there at the 7-12, Marquise Brown, Dulcich, Ritter, Bateman. So again, I thought he did really well in terms of his draft and what he was looking to kind of do there. I believe he's the guy that grabbed Nico, Ingram. So when you're looking at that, pretty good value there for him. Another build here that I really liked: Mahomes, Taylor, Brown, Mayer, Tagovailoa. If Tua could come back, okay, then I think this is a great team. I think it's very solid. Eckler, Dobbins, very good value in Bigsby. Thought those are very good running back values. Wide receivers, he went a little young there, and obviously he probably going to need some help there and grab some other guys off the waiver. Off the waiver wire, or maybe later, right? That's kind of how that works. Now, just to give you an idea of all the Devy players drafted, I would probably just pause it right here, and then you can kind of go through. That's basically the round. So you're looking at a Devy mock. In terms of this, everybody involved, this is kind of what you'd see in those rounds. So this obviously isn't too deep. So when you're looking at all the Devy players rostered, but this kind of gives you probably the one outlier I would say is EJ Smith. I think he was more of like I've never seen EJ Smith drafted in a Devy draft this offseason. Doesn't mean it was a bad pick. Just means I've never seen it. So just kind of give you guys a heads up out there. Then you go through there, you're going to see a lot more quarterbacks than probably you would see in a regular Devy draft. So there are still value to be had out there. A lot of 26 class guys. We only went 15 rounds, though. Obviously, you would do more. But that is the final outlook there. I appreciate everybody for joining me. You know, you can pause it there. And again, you know, I just want to highlight, we appreciate all the love that we're getting on the channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're trying to get to 2,000 subs here by February. This is crazy. We just really started this thing in November, basically posting multiple videos. And I hope that I hope this helps you guys. I hope this helps you in value where everybody's at. And again, we're going to be doing these all. And if you like, you know, Dynasty, everything like that, we're definitely going to be hitting all that content. So we appreciate you guys. Hit that sub button, hit that like button, leave a damn comment. Say, hey, appreciate the content, or hey, I like where that draft's at. Give us some comments in there. It helps out the SEO, but also it makes me realize that people actually listen to my dumb ass and not just skip it. So appreciate you guys. See you later.